Hello, I'm Lindsay Shepherd from the UK Hypnosis Convention team. Today in our series of speaker interviews, I'm delighted to welcome Karen Puttick. Karen is a hypnotherapist and a coach. She's the founder of the Healing Tree Network, the author of several empowering self-development books and programs, including the Imaginators program, which she talked about at the convention in 2018. Karen's father was a hypnotherapist and he taught her self-hypnosis over 30 years ago. She's used her hypnotic skills within mediation, and Karen's created several businesses around the practical application of imagination. Karen, welcome.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Good to have you here. Your presentation, fascinating subject, Hypnotic Happy Hours. Can you tell us what we can expect?
Okay, so hypnotic happiness is all about altering thought patterns and raising the base level of joy. And as hypnotherapists, we do that a lot anyway. You know, it's stuff that we build in, but we can do a little bit more. And the concept of a hypnotic happy hour is to use the science of happiness to actually raise the base level of people's happiness. Now, we can't change someone's personality. If they're going to be a miserable sod, they're going to be a miserable sod. Let's face it. But for some people, their base level of happiness is quite low. And no matter what happens in life, we return to a base level of happiness. So if you win the pools, for example, or the lottery, pools might not mean anything to our international audience, but if you win the lottery, for a moment you're happy. For a period of time you're happy, but your happiness level will return to its base level.
Okay.
So the concept of the happy hour is to gradually raise that base level. And by doing that, you're creating an ability to overcome negative thoughts. You're not expected to be happy all the time, because you'd be a giggling idiot if you were, because obviously we need a full range of emotions. But actually having that slightly higher base level just means that the knocks in life don't knock us down so far. So what I'm going to be talking about is how we bring in the science of happiness into our hypnotic practice. So things like gratitude, awe, kindness, connection, they're all things that most of us build into maybe our ego strengtheners, or maybe we have the odd unconditional loving kindness.
Oh, I think we had a slight technical glitch there, Karen.
Process. But there's a lot more that we can do with it, and that's what I'm going to do.
Okay. Karen, I think the recording's not so happy at the moment. It went a little bit strange there.
Yes, it went a little bit weird. I'm not quite sure where we lost each other.
Throughout the last sentence, can you remember what you said last?
No, but no. It was probably about how using the science of happiness,
yes,
so things like gratitude, or kindness, connection,
yeah,
how there are ways that we can build more of that into our hypnotic processes to raise that base level of happiness. One of the things that you didn't mention in your introduction is that I'm also a laughter yoga facilitator, and
yes.
I learned that there are certain techniques within laughter yoga that are very, very transferable into hypnosis. They just give people techniques for breaking state. You know, the whole thing of laughter doesn't have to be real. Our bodies and our minds will react to it, whether it's fake or real. It has the same effect. So, you know, occasionally in my clinic, I will have people doing fake laughter, and it sounds utterly bizarre, and it probably is. And sometimes the clients back away slowly, but once we actually start doing it, it is incredible how you can just shift state really, really quickly using some laughter techniques.
Just using laughter, just get people to pretend to laugh.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So with your
With
with the way that you're using the hypnotic happy hours, are you using that within what you do already?
no, go on.
Are you using the hypnotic happy hours within what you already do, or do you do specific hypnotic happy hours with your clients?
Both.
Both.
I find that the hypnotic happiness, it's not appropriate to everybody.
Of course.
You know, some clients. The thing is, like any other state that we use in hypnosis, you have to be able to connect to it. So if I'm working with, for instance, a very depressed client, because they need to be able to really connect with how happiness feels, you know, they have to at least have a base level of happiness, and if they haven't got that, then it's not going to work. It's like with all of these things, you know, if you're talking about gratitude or kindness, it's not just about talking about it. People actually have to be able to connect with how any other process that we use in hypnosis.
Yeah. So they actually have to do it, learn to do it. Yeah.
Some people just fall into it really easily, and you know, I work a lot with children, and very often children actually find it a huge relief to actually be able to embrace being happy, and that it's okay. It's a very sad phenomena, but very often, I particularly work with children on the autistic spectrum, and because parents very often work so hard at keeping those children within the bounds of acceptability, they can forget how to have fun. So hypnotic happiness transfers very well into that field as well.
Oh, that's really interesting. I hadn't really thought about it that way. And with adults, isn't it interesting that we lose that sense of being silly, don't we, sometimes?
Oh, absolutely.
We think we have to behave.
Absolutely. And I mean, we know each other quite silly. It doesn't require any sort of comedic ability. It is just about connecting with the happiness levels, and bringing in that science. You know, the science of happiness has expanded exponentially over the last couple of years. There is so much evidence out there that although this sounds very, to use that word, it really isn't. You know, there is evidence to support all of what I'm doing.
So when we walk past your room or within your room at 5 o'clock in the Richmond room on the Saturday of the convention, are we going to hear lots of laughter? Happiness? Everyone will be exuding happiness?
I hope so. I do hope so. I hate everybody to be sat there looking at me with a very solemn look. I don't do solemn terribly well.
No, I know you don't. So we just put a little label on your room, the happiest room of the convention.
That would be lovely. Thank you. I should be expecting that now.
Thank you so much, Karen. That's really. I'm really looking, and I feel really happy having spoken to you today as well.
Good. Thank you, Lindsay. I'm really looking forward